Ebusia sabra me no ka said the honorable Akompreko Ken Agyapong neto ayehye pa ya twa damage sum $18 million eda ne tire so se wo mra metua hwan ene twa ne damage no anas Aremeyaw anas ene de sa damage we etwa honorable Ken Akompreko Agyapong ya wadi mu enkunim efiri he ena wo mu bedru he ba ne sempo ena anas ede sa sika kese we ato honorable itire so ma mesrew se obemi subscribe button no so eye too much gh na wo de bell na kan no upload bi ato mu a on sa etimi aka ebusia say ye hye yenkomo na se be so many years ago ena anas Aremeyaw anas hye ne dwuma bi ase wo Ghana ha eye expose sa dwuma na wodi e de paw dream ene kronobo a ekoso e wo aban enwumam wo hyase efi judges fo mu e ma wi akire kwa ekuhu sa fi judges fo ni bi wo ha sa wo nsem be ko ha je se emponchi ni nwan nyina asu ansa na wo mahwe e di wasam no e di amount edidi mua eno de kopie football mu ema enam so ma ede kwese na nchechi ya na oye GF pani no se me no ka say de FIFA agin dibre e de firi nsam ni nyina eye anas expose ya okoye yi na eno na Akompreko Agyapong esori no ka say da bi asedwuma na anas edi no woye afa Ghana fo John na ono akasa ebeda ne no ho intedue chi no odisika no aba beso ahwe na akwaji wi na afi watwa ne ho asan e de aba blackmail say video mo hotima mskasa wa mana na odi video no aba wontin eno na honorable so setting the program bi e wo the two ya wo two ne dey say who watches over the watchman that say wono e ba be hwe anas dwuma wo di ntene honorable ekeka ensem yie pa e de fa anas ho e kire say anas na ngasa wo ye kromfo in fact dwuma na wo ye nkra Ghana ha wontu tax ene ensem bebre e na wo ka e de fa anas ho san nsem no anye anas de ntine wo mo tabi asem no e de kokopie mu e wo court ya justice ban e netena asem no so ma wo mu di asem no ewie no na akwakobu e de abo anasa the court no e kire say ensem a anas e de babeda wo mu ensuo bia enimu ntino se wo mu gina so e de abu Kennedy fo a ebe ye nso wo bo asem no etuguye ebusia ansene anas tirim e wo mu na honorable Akompreko Agyapong ekokopie mu e wo US ya woni abrante bi e friend that the Fred wono so oye media person na bia ekokodi dwuma e wo US na ho na honorable san kwatena ne show no so na san keka ensem e de fa anas ho a wo kire se anas no wo ye kromfo wo ye medra amedswale wo na wo nukra anas eni hu bi ene ensem a eni susu yie pa na honorable e kan ye e de fa anas ho sabre na so na anas nso e wo US obi ene o se ene honorable twafufo amana tonkwam watabiri asem no ene honorable nyina na wo mo de kokopie mu e wo US court a court wo mo de asem no ekopie mu no e ye access country superior court eho na wo mo de asem no ekokogina ye abusunya wo mo kokodi asem no Ghana ha bra na wo mo de asem no kopie mu senka anas enyi nanim na Ghana fo nyina ehu se anas na ye kan wo yetuntum wo ye kokko amaso sa na so kokopie mu e wo US court ne de wo mo hye se anas enyi nanim na wo bia open court obi ehu se anas no sei na wo te ampa wo yi nanim e ma obi ehu se anas na ya kan aka no sei na busua wo te.
Okay, so the court's decision, if we start at the end, the court is denying the request for mistrial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Free assembly die ni nyina wo mo de hye so e de asem no e ba wiye no na anas akwakodi mu enkunimu a damage a court no etwaye e de ma anas say honorable emfa empata anas no e $18 million eno en damage a anas e de atwa Akompreko Agyapong a e da ne siri so a wo kire say ontua emfama no asemi e beto monten so no anas lawyer abekasa e de emu nchemu aba
yeah papa no one filing response my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near filing, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say, a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was say, or you wouldn't in terms of Onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, so say, Yenuya no a serial killer in terms of Woku Chinese for Bibribi or Ghana. And then the fourth one is say, or a criminal. The blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, or say, behind Woody Sembiana, that means say Abiana and no a trigger man and also no will be second and say perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client or a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went on undefended after the response time now, we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with two brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Aremeyaw Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And, at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record. And, the case went, at that point, Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously, because near Beji judgment for the full $30 million. And so he hired counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default, they argued that they had a solid defense. And I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana, release here. And I don't know, so say defense to a case I follow New Jersey.
But Ghana, case no
exactly.
Okay.
And so as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation is say can the work of court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean to Ghana and family defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because but you also free other countries. There are certain times that even though of presidential value, I just said, dead into me, so India, but to me, the two who na senior or the two especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances, sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emra drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, in this case, and not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard.
Okay.
And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth and we forged on. And we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday. And we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, the difference between what happened with Ghana and Johannes said, trial by jury. It's and judge, or judge back one I say judge me, no one I say judge me and send a video seminar. But normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and a twin from. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that a charges counts now at the buy and the civil claims now at the buy. His defense was also, although Oka said, it was some sort of just based banter between him and Union, he came to court and asserted truth as his defense. And so,
time I caught say, "Sa counting na mode bono no say on Anas back and forth, right? The on the claim or make it also na banta de say we can we internet and share or no they na all can say obi to be almost to more
but oh, you do court me there. That was not.
And yes, I know what kind. Ura court no jitu.
Yeah, be or there be or maintaining the position say no can or down standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically, remember just of practice and no crane di no onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that, no, or the movie you try in net to who watches a watchman. But the announced by as only defense, and you know, so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factor that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So jury never bugui. And you know, about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were the multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's, you know, and also, no, unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're transferred from based on address, no voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana Samuel.
All against,
you know, 8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no be doing komono and also crown. There was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes on say there was no doubt in our presentation to what, you know, you kind of lay people. These are not experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay people
who just sat and used their common sense to come to a conclusion.
Yeni guswa edi assemnation be PF bia se honorable obetu yesika no obekoye appeal and assign and ensam no bekoni nyina no e be sign aba edi aba besom too much gh and when guswa wo hwe mesro na waja comment e wo video yi ase e de ma fa mi subscribe button no so na fa be on ka ho sa no upload bi ato mo a nsa e betimi aka all the social media handles okwo hwa e too much e aka se ho so over subscribe no like ya share ama wo nwe bi nso enye bi ahwe that gold enemy day makra